Hey guys, Willow here again, and today we are going to go on a spooky little adventure. My favorite kind. It is the month of Halloween, and I'm going to start by taking you into the 1850s house because we're going to talk about death in the 1800s and after. You see, New Orleans has more dead here than they do the living. And because of that, there's a lot to talk about, especially to, me, who's a medium, and I talk to the dead all the time. Last few days, they've been coming through loud and clear. So today, we're going to show you a little history, a little dark history, and we're going to talk about the 1800s and the yellow fever epidemic that wiped out over 40,000 people during the 1800s. And there's so much to talk about. So we're going to talk about the dead, and we're going to talk about what they all went through. Yeah, it's a spooky time. So join me on this spooky, witchy little adventure. Okay, so this is scary, guys. This is what it used to look like in the 1850s in the Pontalba apartment buildings. You would have this entire townhouse, and it's really big, and the staircase goes way up, so come with me. And I really do not like going upstairs. I have an aversion to heights, so this was scary. So here's some of the portraits of some of the residents that may have lived here during the 1850s. I thought that was pretty cool.
I will receive that as a compliment.
I know of no other way to receive it.
Well, here we are. This would have been their living room. Can you imagine?
It is a simple portrait.
So
You
beautiful.
will achieve it in an instant.
This would have been the dining room in a home in the 1850s in the Pontalba apartment buildings. This is beautiful, but can you imagine? This is what you would have been leaving behind if you caught yellow fever and died. It was not the most hospitable environment for healthy living back in those days. We didn't have modern medicine. So all this beauty would have been left behind. Here are some photos I took while I was in the 1850s house. This is what you might have seen. On the walls, you would see portraits, beautifully hand-painted. You would have saw beautiful instruments in their parlor. There is also a baby bed that you can see. It was covered with netting to protect from mosquitoes. The adult's bed, however, was not covered. Also, you'll see a hair wreath here that was created by hand in memory of the dead. They would take the deceased's hair to create a beautiful work of art. And finally, a child's bed. What a lovely piece, but all left behind once you died. Well, I discovered one thing. I get vertigo on those spiral staircases. Yeah, I don't like those. So I'm going to stay down here now and walk on outside where I'm on flat ground and not worry about man-made cattywonker kind of stairs. I think maybe in a past life I fell downstairs. Now I'm starting to have this anxiety. This is not good, guys, but we're going to carry on. So this is the Pharmacy Museum, and I'm going to take you upstairs to a exhibit on yellow fever, but you can look around and just kind of see some of the stuff they would have done back in the day to cure you from whatever ailed you. Yep, even leeches. So this area of the courtyard here at the Pharmacy Museum is an example of what a courtyard might look like during the 1800s. Now the interesting thing was everybody wanted to catch rainwater, so they would have fresh water on hand for their home. Unfortunately, that was the perfect breeding ground for yellow fever. And so mosquitoes would just have a field day, and they filled all of their cisterns with mosquito larvae, which in turn caused a lot of yellow fever to happen. And like I said in the beginning, over 41,000 people died from yellow fever during the 1800s. So, yeah, this is kind of where it started, in these beautiful courtyards behind the homes. So I wonder which type of elixir they might have tried during yellow fever to cure it. I'm sure they tried many things. They probably tried leeches, and they probably tried just about every kind of herb known to man. But it wouldn't cure it until they stopped helping the mosquitoes breed, and also learned about antibiotics, because that's what cured it. So this is a jar they would keep leeches in. You can see that they had little holes in the top to keep the leeches alive. And they have started using leeches again. So there are real good uses for them. I think Mother Earth has a reason for everything. There's a picture for you of what they might look like. On a side note, the other thing that you can find at the Pharmacy Museum, something that they would have had back in the day, was voodoo. So you can see here they have a couple of voodoo dolls. They have some love drawing powder. They have luck powder. And several others. You can take a look at that. They may have tried some of this kind of elixir too. This would reduce fevers. Who knows what they were trying? They were even shooting off cannons, trying to scare away the bad spirits of the city, thinking that that's what was causing yellow fever as well. I don't think it even scared a mosquito. Well, here are some stomach tonics. They might have used those because vomiting was also part of yellow fever. So who knows? Maybe some of these tonics might have been tried.
Oh no, it was I didn't think it didn't really have anything bad in it. Like there wasn't like any like opiates or like anything like that in it. But yeah, it is just kind of dubious what was actually in it.
You don't know.
I think a lot of people don't know. I think they've tested it.
Okay, guys. So here I am in front of this very unassuming building here on my right to you, my left to me. But where that red car is parked, that building has a lot of historical value, and we're going to talk about that building now. So this building on St. Philip, well, it doesn't look like much, does it? But this video is about yellow fever, and that building right there in the 1800s was our very first morgue. Yep. And when the horrendous outbreak in the summer of 1853 took place, we lost about 8,000 people in that 3-month period of time. Right there, where that red car is now parked, would be bodies. That's right. Folks, their heads would be towards the sidewalk, their feet out towards the street. Now remember, we just had more gravel and cobblestone back in those days, and we had horse and buggies. We didn't have a lot of cars going down the street. However, there were so many bodies. They would stack them 6 bodies high from right there by that drive area to go to the back of the courtyard. From there, all the way 2 blocks down to Bourbon Street. That's right, folks. There were bodies stacked up 6 high, tight as you could get them, all the way down, so that their loved ones could identify the bodies. So they would just take a candle and put them on top of the stack so that you could go and see with that candle if one of your loved ones was in that pile, so that you could dispose of their bodies. You could have them buried. But can you imagine the smell? Can you imagine the sadness, the sorrow, the heartache, the pain that they might have been suffering? It was horrible. So here I am I am standing in front of the original morgue. That's right. In 1853, when we had the height of the yellow fever epidemic, about 8,000 people died in 3 months. We couldn't bury them fast enough. So they were decomposing in the streets. So where I'm standing would have been right next to all the bodies. You see the building behind me? That's the original morgue. That is 626 St. Philip Street. But now, if you want, you can stay here. This is part of the Chateau Hotel. Now, I've talked to people that have stayed here, and boy, is this place active. They have seen apparitions standing at the end of their bed. They have seen all kinds of crazy stuff going on. They've had laptops moved. They've had doors open and close. They've been scared out of their wits. Well, that's right. These bodies had spirits, and these spirits are still lingering here. Welcome to New Orleans, where the dead outnumber the living. So I wanted to stop and talk to you a little bit about yellow fever and the progression of the disease. It was horrendous, guys. So as I started to tell you, you get a high fever, it comes on really fast, and then you start to vomit, and it's a brownish red substance, which happens to be your insides liquefying. And then finally you go into a coma. That's right. But unfortunately, in the 1800s, we didn't know what a coma was. So we were burying people alive. We were stacking them in the body, stacks, alive. So even if you did come out of the coma, you probably died from the weight of the bodies, or you might have died by drowning in bodily fluid. It was not pretty. It was not a pretty way to go. So tonight, I'm going to be going on a paranormal investigation, and I'm looking forward to it because I'm taking you to Charity Hospital Cemetery, and that is where they buried a lot of people in mass graves from the yellow fever epidemic. And it's very haunted, and we're going to see with my guests tonight if we can capture some spirit activity. So yeah, this daytime part of the video, that's just a beginning. That's just to get your taste buds a little wet, because later we're going in for the haunting. Whew, let's see what the spirits have for us later. Okay, so here I am once again at the Corner Oyster House, and I'm going to have little spirits after talking to the spirits today, and then I'm going to go and talk to some more tonight, and I'll get back to you tomorrow. So hope you continue to join us on this witchy adventure today, and tonight let's go see if we can talk to the dead. Hey guys, it's Willow. We're here. We are going into the Charity Hospital Cemetery. These three guests are coming with me. So I'm not by myself, which is kind of good because it's a little scary in there. And I'm actually more afraid of the living than the dead, but still, you know what I'm talking about. So let's go on this witchy adventure and let's see if we can catch some ghosts. We have lots of spirit activity out here tonight, guys. We've got names. One of them even called out David's name. It's been crazy so far. I'll record the next Spirit Box session for us because I think this is really awesome. Now we're in Charity Hospital, so let me tell you, this is where they buried the mass amount of people that died during the 1800s from yellow fever. They just threw them into mass graves. They didn't have any markers, any headstones, anything to let us know who they were. So these spirits are not happy. They wander because they weren't properly buried. So that's why we come in here. I come in here all the time so that I can get their names. I want to know who they are so that I can give them the honor and respect that they deserve after death. So any of the spirits that want to come here and want to talk with me, I am here and I am listening to you. So we do have a lot of bugs out here. That's one thing, because we are outside. And of course, once again, if you guys see anything in these videos, let me know. You can make comments down below. Just tell me about what point in the video you saw something so that we have an idea where to look. Now you might want to put in your earbuds and listen closely to see if you can catch anything. We're now using the SB7 spirit box. See if they want to come through this time. Can you tell us our names? Who's here visiting you?
What was that? David? David?
That sounded like a kid. Is that little child here? Come on, you were coming through so loud and clear before. Give us your names so I can put you on my list and give you prayer every night. You're not going to talk to us? You give us a name?
What's your name? You have their names, you can pray for them, right?
Right. Did he say Cyril? Was it Cyril? Cyril, can you tell us how you died? Anybody else want to come over here and talk to us? Today's the anniversary of my father's death. Did anybody know him? All right. Well, I'm not getting a whole lot here, so we're going to let you go. Thank you for talking to us. All right, guys. That's going to do it for our video for our investigation part for tonight. I might pick up a little bit during the seance. We'll see. I don't know. It's kind of private. We don't always video the seance part. But we did get some names that came through tonight. I'll go over the video, and by all means, if you see anything, if you hear anything, let me know down below in the comments. I think it's really interesting. I think did everybody have fun?
I had a great time. Willow, you're the best. You're the best, Willow.
All right, guys. Until next time, hope you have your very own witchy little adventures.